Okay, so before I start the reading, I was thinking like, what's the general vibe? Okay, and I was feeling that the divine masculine energy is like thought they had it all together and thought they knew everything, and it's kind of like they uh, realized that their system of belief was kind of like a dusty old dictionary from 1982 that maybe wasn't even a very good dictionary brand to begin with. Like the editors weren't that great and knowledgeable and stuff, but like it was a big dictionary and everybody just took it for granted that that was like the one. Or maybe because they had a better marketing campaign, or or it was like there was some like corrupt dictionary salesman involved who didn't passionately believe in definitions and stuff. So there's this realization that like why was I even like going by this book? And they realized like there was this better book that they just found out about. And yeah, so it's kind of like a quiet, unhappy realization feeling. It doesn't feel like super action type of day, but that the whatever action is happening is more mental, and there's like a shift taking place where there's been illumination on their decision making that hasn't served them, and that reflects values that aren't even theirs. So there's got to be like sorry, like what's the word for that? Like embodiment or like temperance, balance, bringing it like not bringing in because it was always there, but like your own set of values that are true to yourself, that ring true to just you. Like if you were to like, if you had like an Oprah audience and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to her, and it's just like everybody's like, no, like what, like or like, hey, I got you guys. Everybody gets like a big TV, like yeah, but then it's like, is a big TV really gonna solve the world's problems? Like, probably not. And yeah, and you can't like always be making up your mind with like what the crowd will say. I mean, I don't know about you, but the people that maybe I haven't even met, but that like have touched my life or like made me feel welcome in the world, are not people that follow the crowd. Like they are compassionate, but it's like through your own personal truth is born compassion, because like first you must have compassion for yourself to be able to reflect on others. Because if it's just like not even in you to be compassionate, then like how is that something that you can share? So there's some inner work, not like work. I don't really like that term, inner work. Because like in truth, like enlightenment, like you're like lightening the load. You're like, hey, I am aware that spirit has my back, so I don't have to do everything. I don't have to think all the time. I just have to be in touch with spirit. And like, so I highly encourage everybody to improve their intuition so that you can take the load off and just get like the little nudge from spirit when you need it to like I get that all the time. It's like, hey, you may want to like do this now. It's like, oh yeah, or like, where are my keys? And then I'll just like something will pop in my head. I'm like, oh, okay, So it helps to be in touch with yourself just for life, but also like to ease your burden Because if you have to be like yourself and like the master of your own universe and everything to everybody, it's exhausting. Like, of course it's not gonna, like, the whole point of life is, well, I don't want to get too like bossy or broad here, but okay, I'm gonna like backtrack on that comment because I don't want to like send whatever, make people act in certain ways, but being yourself in sync with the rest of the world, in the 3D and in every other dimension, but you have to like accept that there are like infinite dimensions and to just get comfortable. Like, it's like, sure, you have this, I don't know, it's kind of, I don't want to take up too much of the reading with my far out concepts and stuff. Perhaps I'll jot it down and make it like a book someday. But anyway, you get my point. This is like you have to throw out the other people's old tired ideas and societies, like 1982 values or whatever, so that you can just go like, wait a second, like what's like off the hook, sparkly, like 15 rainbows, like what is true to me, what's like popping outside of me, like 24/7, 365, that's true to you. Like, I'm a big like truth booster, and like, even if you feel like, oh my god, like that person's so weak, like they could never handle the truth if I told them, it's like, no, you're weak for not telling them the truth, and they would be so much less depressed if you told them the truth, but you're like keeping them held captive in this prison of lies or whatever. That, it's just like, just tell the truth and you're both like liberated. So just, I'm not buying into like, oh, they're so weak. It's like, oftentimes you've weakened someone's energy because deep down in their body they know that something's off and it's draining their energy. So just like to fill back the energy, like, be honest. Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna like hop into this reading. I'm like, okay, why is there a text? That's not real. Okay. So I'm gonna put on these things. Someone invent glasses that never need to be cleaned, please. And send me a pair. Okay. Ooh, this is good. I've never had this one. Chrysotile. My power animal supports, guides, and loves me throughout my life. My power animal? What is a power animal? Does that mean like you're like the animals that you find like keep popping up and helping you in your life? Like, for me, I would say bear and crow have been backing me up in that way. But okay, my power animal supports, guides, and loves me throughout my life. So let Chrysotile help in that way. You can call upon that. And also we have red tourmaline. This is really pretty. Passion. I am the embodiment of passion. So call upon red tourmaline to help you remember that you are the embodiment of passion. Such a pretty crystal. All right. I don't know, I have like such trepidation to jump into this reading, but I'm sure there'll be some kind of fun moment for me here. Okay, what All right, I gotta turn off my sound thingy. All right. So we have strength. We have the Four of Discs. And we have the Magician in my matching outfits with me. All right. I'm just gonna like look at these guys. Well, I mean, it's not that complicated, really, but so by like having some alone time to think, closing out like people stuff, so that you can meditate on the four elements that are on the wall. You're gonna feel more connected and like gathering your strength so that you can make the magic happen in your life. And I like to how the strength card is echoing this power animal card. So I don't know if you guys are all into like nature and animals and stuff. I would count myself in for that grouping. And there's so much to learn by like listening and observing and allowing yourself to receive attention, affection, like interest or whatever from animals. Because oftentimes, like, like your cat is just like sitting there just waiting, for you to notice them and that they are sending you love like all the time. Just like and that perhaps this ability to receive love, like in terms of from the elements or nature, and just not from another human, just like being receptive to attention and love from other sources than maybe the one that you're like obsessing over. Gives you some form of strength that is like comes from connection. Because if you think of molecules, like if atoms were just like all just like, hey, I'm an atom, I'm fine by myself. It's like that's all well and good, but if we bind together, we make something else that's cool, right? So get into that like binding. Okay, it's kind of like this like quartz crystal. It's like we could all be like just individual like pieces of quartz, just separate. But it's like, hey, check it out. Let's all just hang out together and make this cool. Other kind of crystal. Okay. So also what comes up today is these two cards from my deck. All right. I mean, what I pick up when I look at them is like the masculine energy needs to come forward and say like, hey, I value you. You're important to me. I'm going to actually like shell out some papes to take you out. Even though it pains me to pay the cover and buy you a ginger ale because you don't drink alcohol. I'm gonna do that because like I realize after looking at my dusty dictionary that like you're it, like you're awesome, and let's have some fun. Not like careless fun, but like inner child kind of like fun. All right, so then we also have from the Golden Universal Tarot deck, we have the World. And then we have the Nine of Wands. I apologize for singing in your face there. And then we have the Six of Pentacles. Sick. Okay, who's this guy? There's kind of like I know a guy, I'm not gonna say who, but anyway, it's just like, you know, some people are like on, on the surface, they look like they have it like super together, right? And you're like, wow, like it just must be like really capable of loving other people because look how much they love themselves. But like maybe they just love themselves, and they don't have that much capability or interest to treat yourself like they treat themselves. I don't know. Anyway, so I kind of feel like the vibe on this guy is a bit like that. Like, whoa, he's really got it together, and like he's like, hey, I'm gonna give my little crumbs of attention to you guys. I mean, I know that the Six of Pentacles is usually like charity, you know. I mean, and I suppose like giving a little bit of this and that is charitable, but like I just kind of, you know, when I look at this card, I just feel like it's more about the divine masculine, like just sort of handing out little crumbs to like this person and that person, like juggling relationships and valuing his little crumbs, like maybe more than, you know, like if some people go to the wall in their friendships, it's just like, what do you want? I'm here. Like, let's do this. Like you're moving house. Okay. I'm like going to help you for 5 days. And like, you won't even know that I sprained my ankle. Like, you know, it's so, but then there's some people like this who are just like, hey, you know, cause I look good and I'm going to like buy you a coffee. I'm like, so boss, you know, like, I don't know. Like, I think I've seen people be more generous. I think I've been more generous. Like, you know, that's kind of feel like I get. So in his own way, like he may be coming forward with a gesture of, you know, charity, but what's better than charity? Like, you know, being on equal ground, like same height as everybody and not having to be like the guy wearing teal and pumpkin. You know? Maybe had like too much for dinner. I don't know. Like it's just, I'm not like vibing on this guy too hard. Like, as someone I want to spend time with. Okay. And then we have the Nine of Wands. I get kind of like when there's more and more wands, I get kind of confused about like, because like I'm trained more as a healer and psychic than a card reader, but let's all learn together what these mean. Even though I'm sure there's people watching who are annoyed that I haven't said it already. Okay. All right. So the Nine of Wands: surveillance, strength in adversity, defense, solidity, and boundary. Okay. Well, be that as it may, just gonna still check. Like, I'm like a bit clothes obsessed, I think, because I'm like checking out his outfit. I mean, because look what he's wearing. He's some kind of like thong, codpiece, garter. Like, yeah, it's pretty complex. He looks a bit like Greek. Is that a Greek outfit? I don't know. Anyway, so or maybe like super old Italian. I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna like try. Yeah, I mean, like the look. Check out the look on his face. If that doesn't say surveillance, I don't know what does. Okay. Like he's got his one wand and he's standing on this sort of barren, like dirty sidewalk ground kind of type of thing. And whereas all the other wands are like on the other side of that little wall in a much more like beautiful environment. So I feel like, you know, after a lot of passion and effort, like he sort of put himself outside, separate from these passions that he's been indulging in, and he's just like having a moment, like taking 5 to be just like, okay, what have I done? What? Like, okay. And when we put that together with him just giving out crumbs and stuff and being like boss in a, I would say like 90s yeah, because like no one would have worn like rust with teal unless it was like 1991. You know what I mean? Because like teal is like super 80s, but then rust, it's like, you know, it's the crossover of the decades there. But anyway, maybe that refers to like when this person was born. I don't know, but to me, but okay. So yeah, he's like, why have I been giving so much effort to giving crumbs to a bunch of people? And like this cycle is like coming to a close. It's like the world. It's like the end. It's the last card in the major arcana. So it's like this cycle of like just going around giving crumbs to people and like having like lots of mini little relationships or putting my passions in like too many places, and so that it gets like watered down and like less effective. That cycle's over because you looked at your dusty dictionary and you're like, why? And then we have 4 cards here from, I think part of my problem right this morning is I hadn't had coffee for like a long time. And I made one today and I'm just like, just different. It's like it's its own chemical in its own way, coffee, even though I only had like 2 sips. All right. Okay. So we have death. I like that. I like this deck a lot. Even though there's no color, I like a lot of glitter and stuff, so I'm like down with like this kind of sparkly stuff. But I'll take black and white if it's this complex. Like I like the thunder, like they do good thunderbolts and stuff, right? Check that out. So we have Death, Temperance, Queen of Pentacles, and upside down Princess of Cups. I mean, I can like show them to you like that, but it's each card is so like complex that I'll have to lift them one at a time for you. I'm just gonna have a look. Temperance for a second. I feel like okay. I feel like in this card, the Divine Masculine is kind of like thinking about how the feminine has like told them some ideas and stuff that they're not super into. They don't think exactly the same. That's one thing. And also, when I look at this writing on the side here, I just feel like when the feminine like sends them text and stuff, it's kind of like that saying, like it's Greek to me, like they don't understand what they're talking about. It's kind of like, you know, when you like when you're a kid and your parents are watching like It's like, I don't know, some movie that's like really dry, like about a historical figure. And I don't know. It's like, I remember when my mom, like when I, Claudius came on, it was like a whatever 30-part TV series, or I don't know. It was like super dry, and my mom was like so excited. And because there was like no other shows and always just like one TV back in the whatever that was, 70s, we would literally everyone in the 70s, if you were from age 1 to 99, you were watching iClaudius. And I was like, I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, it's like frustrating. It's like this feeling of like, I don't even, like, what are you even seeing? Like, I don't even want to read this. Like, what? So, and I actually like watched it fairly recently, not the whole thing, but I was kind of like, oh, okay, I guess I see why my mom liked it. Or, maybe she read the book first. I mean, certainly like the Roman Empire is interesting melodrama. Okay. Anyway, so as far as the divine masculine is concerned, he's just like who needs that kind of. At the same time, it's like a powerful force in his life, and it's changed him. And now he finds himself holding a bucket of water and a magic wand with the cool geometric shapes coming off of it that look like a cool video game kind of environment. And he's like, what? Like, I thought it was just normal. I thought it was just like this guy giving out little bits of my love to like scraps to people so I could get like a little boost of attention now and then. But now I find myself dealing with, because of this connection with the feminine, I find like I'm suddenly mixing these elements to create this like lion-headed bowl of cool stuff that is making these two eagles stop their mid-flight and go like, what? So it's pretty profound, trying to balance all these energies for the divine masculine. But at the same time, wouldn't it be fun to be this person holding in the midst of so much power, right? And then, okay, I'm kind of curious why the Princess of Cups is upside down. All right. Where are you at, Cups? It's okay. They put her after the King of Cups. All right. Princess of Cups, reversed. A flatterer, selfish, luxurious, and deviant. Right. So divine masculine was being a flatterer and deviant and just like giving out crumbs that ended up just like burning out his passions. And that's like coming to an end. And he's having to balance all these energies in life now. Because death has come to the situation, and like, whereas before all these people might have looked like cool, he sees things like for what they are at their core essence. It's like, they used to have like faces and whatever. Now it's just like I see like the nitty gritty, like down to the bone. Like I see what the issues are here and who you truly are. And I can see that it's over. Okay, I don't want to just like say something quick about Queen of Pentacles. I'm just going to look it up for a second. A beautiful woman appears in profile. She wears ornate Byzantine helmet with the spiral of the snail, representing the never-ending fertility of the earth. She holds in her hand a scepter surmounted by a large cube, the three-dimensional hexagram. That blows my mind. Anyway, okay. In her other hand, she bears an orb of gold. A large goat's head with horns entwining a crystal sphere at the bottom of the card represents the fertilizing power of the great work. The queen's throne is very large, rising from the earth and surrounded by luxuriant oak leaves. Impetuous, charming, intelligent, timid, kind, melancholy, truthful, graceful, moody. All right. So I'm like asking myself why these are together. I kind of feel like this is the energy of what the divine masculine wants to be, like, stable, grounded, rich, like not rich in the sense of like, David Hasselhoff or something, just like, feeling good, just grounded, having what they need, and just feeling beautiful and smart and stuff like that. And they, because this stuff, like being vain and deceitful and like, having these, this time in your life, like having all these things, having an awareness so that things are now that you were doing before are now kind of, the passion for them is dead, and you see people for who they truly are, because now you're like, it's like that feeling when you're on a roller coaster for the first time that's like bigger than you wished it had been, and you're at the top and you're like, okay, I guess I'm going down this hill now, and it's like, you got to balance yourself in this, all these energies and stuff. But in order to be this energy of stability and beauty and grace and like, you have to get through this time of like shedding your vanity and selfishness and spreading yourself too thin. It's like, the oops, the death card and the world card are like calling an end to these situations where, you thought you were like Canada's next like man top model in 1991. The early 90s. Yeah, so maybe we're talking about someone who came into this world in the early 90s. And so now it's time to come forward and suggest to have some fun with the person you think is number one, and that's going to require you to shut out these things that you feel like have like cycles and relationships that have ended. So you can gather your strength and connect with the energies, like, and receive like love in like the broadest sense of the word. So you can be a magician and bring down the life that you want. And the crystals want to tell you that your power animal supports and guides you throughout your life, and that you do have passion and to move forward in passion. And that is it for this Saturday. And I hope you have an excellent day.